in a row before I fired up the live stream here, which I just did. Exciter Power. Hello, this is W2BTK. Because we are supposed to identify our amateur radio stations within 10 minutes of keying up. So I will be, I'll be really good about it because I think that's only been like 3 minutes.
Mob scene. I mean, just everything around 28.4 was crazy. And then it's like, well, let's really give it the litmus test. And I went up to 29.6. 29.6! Simplex FM was going bonkers. It was just like a pileup of Simplex FM stations. Holy cow. So I went up to 6 meters, and that was nuts also. So yeah, Saturday. Hey folks, if you're a tech licensed amateur radio operator, boy, I hope you were on Saturday night or Saturday at any point, because it would have been a bonanza at the tech. Well, why am I saying this? You're not even listening now because you're techs. Oh well, sorry, N1BCG.
What?
Well, what tech is going to be listening to this frequency, right?
You'd be surprised, Clark.
Well, that would be good. I just don't know anyone. I mean, I guess they can, watch your Twitch channel, or they can listen on the web SDR or stuff like that. But I figured, they wouldn't bother doing that because we don't talk about any tech stuff here.
No, I don't know. There's a bunch of techs who listen here. But yeah, not usually via RF. It's usually from some kind of a live feed.
Well, actually, all right, I'm going to retract that because, yes, in your case, I have to say this is very interesting, Bill. If you really have all these guys who are either upgrading from tech to general, or that one op you said just went the full Monty, tech and general together. That's pretty damn impressive. I mean, that's like that's a QST article right there, because it sort of, for at least for the ARL, and a lot of ham radio operators kind of talk about this also. It's like, well, what's the future of ham radio? What's getting anybody interested in this? Because you can't really make people get interested in something they're just not going to be interested in. But I was so tempted on this thread to say, a friend of mine streams his QSOs on Twitch, and that's gotten a lot of not only interest, but it has actually taken folks, not only bumped them up a level, but has turned non-hams into ham radio operators. And I want to see how, that's why I keep saying this is so interesting, because I want to kind of see how this evolves in time. I think what you're doing is really interesting. And if that continues, if people who watch your Twitch channel are inspired enough to say, hey, I want to do this also, and they study for getting a ham license, and then they do, and they follow through with it, that's like, well, to use the words of my nephew, that's sick.
Yeah, it's happening. Bob's watching N1XBM. He's in the chat. He's listening via RF and the interwebs, but he's not a tech, so that doesn't count. But yeah, it's I don't know, okay, like based on like what people say about me, I'll never be in QST, And if I was, it would probably piss some people off, because they really don't like me. But those are people that don't know me. They don't know anything about me. They don't know who my friends are. They just make a lot of assumptions. So I don't know. Yeah. The thing about it is Twitch is a friggin', I'm allowed to say friggin' on the air. That's not a real curse word. It's a gaming website, man. Like straight up. It's a gaming website, and I'm just exploiting it doing something else on it. I stream in the just chatting category, and I've seen, there's other ham radio streams here and there, but they're pretty, like hands off, like maybe just streaming whatever's going on 3085. There's nobody really doing it like Twitch style. You know what I mean? It's just like you would open this other ham radio thing, and they don't stream often, and be like, what the hell is going on here? And it's kind of like low budget, no, not low budget, but just not very good production values and this and that, not in line like with most of the stuff you'd see on Twitch. So I'm trying to present it in a Twitch friendly way, and people that like come through are like, oh hey, like this looks like a Twitch stream, but there's something different happening, and they watch, and it's like, oh, like that's pretty cool. Like, what's this guy doing? Like, I'm interested, and then they ask questions, and it turns into something, and it has. Like, let's see, what I think. It's hard for me to say, but at least 3 people I know of have upgraded to general since they started like watching and came back like, yo, I passed the general. One guy got licensed and got tech and general at the same time. I think that's what I'm up to. I haven't been doing it for very long, but yeah, I'll keep doing this. It seems like people watch it and like it. A lot of them are just like hams who find me, who hear me on the air and go on QRZ and just watch because like they know what's going on. It's pretty cool. But then there's the handful of folks who are like, I was watching some guy play like Valorant or some video game, and like I just found this feed somehow, and like, whoa, like what is this? So I don't know, it's outreach. I don't know how many avenues are there for like serious like ham radio outreach. Like, here is the hobby on a platter, especially AM stuff. So I don't know, doing something a little different, that's all. W2BTK on Montana Mountain in New Jersey.
All right. I gotta keep this, tightened up because there's so much content here that can be talked about. First of all, quick shout out to KN4ZFL, says he's listening to you guys, meaning us. No, 38. Hold it. KN4ZFL, you're not listening to us on 3885. Nice shot, but you did have to change to 3875, so you can correct that and you won't get dinged. Now, back to Bill. Bill, so I'm trying to understand this because I'm not a Twitch denizen, but so you say that Twitch is mostly for gaming. So what happens? It's for people who, what do you do? You do gaming and then you stream that live so people are going to like watch you gaming?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it started as. Well, okay, there was a website called Justin TV, and it was like live streaming, and people would just get on there and do stuff. But then all of a sudden, it was like overrun by people that were streaming themselves playing video games, right? And like it became so popular that they made a new site called Twitch, and it was just video game streaming. And yes, like people would play, and certain people, like, they play video games at a very high level, like they're really mopping up, and people are interested in that, and they want to watch it. They want to watch these people play. But then it kind of grew. Now there's a really big music section on Twitch. There's lots of DJs, people creating music, doing that kind of stuff. And there's also tons of people that stream in the just chatting category, like me. But for the most part, they're just chatting. I use the just chatting category as like I'm chatting on the radio. And honestly, like if you can find another stream like this on Twitch, I would be pleasantly surprised. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem like, and like you don't know anything about Twitch. It's kind of like, it's a younger folks kind of thing, so it's the perfect place to showcase the hobby, especially amplitude modulation.
Good evening, W3MMR.
Yo, Perry. Well, I'll say this. The reason why Twitch and what you're doing and all this sort of is very interesting to me is because, you look at YouTube, and if you do a search for, amateur radio or stuff like that, there's a million people posting videos of themselves doing ham radio, and it's tediously boring. And then you've got these people who do the regular YouTube channels, and some are just god-awful, where they look at you in the camera. Hi, my name is Clark. I'm a ham radio operator, and I'm going to show you what it's like to be on ham radio. Watch this. This is really exciting. Now, at that point, most people have gone, oh my God, and turned it off, or you just clicked buy and found something else. What intrigues me about this is two things. Number one, if Twitch is a video streaming site which people go to and expect that they're going to be seeing people gaming, okay, hold that thought. That's thought number one. Number two, you're on there doing ham radio, but you're not addressing the Twitch audience. You're just kind of like, it's there, and it's like they're hanging out at your house watching you do ham radio. Now, the interesting thing is, what's the tie-in between ham radio and gaming? Well, in gaming, what you do affects what happens with you. Well, isn't it interesting that in ham radio, what you say affects what happens with you also? So in a very kind of related way, you could actually stream your ham radio communications on Twitch, and it's almost like gaming. So I could see how that works. But unlike YouTube, people are probably a little bit more, they're not there for the watching a lecture series. They're there for just like, so what's this dude up to? And they're seeing that. So I'm getting this feeling like this actually really works, and I'm very, like I said, this intrigues me. N1BCG. All right, to be fair, I got to say hey to Perry. What's up?
Keep it on topic.
Just getting home, getting settled in here, and looking at a new Apache Labs Anon 6000 that they are coming out with, apparently. It's a 30-watt transceiver. How about that? Anyway, good evening, Clark, Billy. I heard my Pop in there. Good evening to you, Pop. Nice seeing you today. At lunch when you stop by. Appreciate that. And everybody's coping good. W3MMR.
All right, but back to the conversation we were having. Twitch is like, it's not like YouTube. It's happening right now. And that's all they're interested in. And you can't upload pre-recorded videos and stuff like that to Twitch. It's just all they care about is what's happening right now. So that's what people come to see, and it's interactive. If you come into my stream and watch me operating ham radio, you can talk to me, you can chat directly to me. Your chats show up on the stream, you know what I mean? So it's like you're there, you're there with me, and people dig that. You can just come on, and even if you're not on the radio, you can come have a conversation with me in the chat. You can see what I'm doing, all this stuff, and I think that's what attracts people. Even if they're there for gaming, they're into it because it's another feed of a person they can come interact with. It's super interactive, and that's what Twitch is. So it's evolving. It's not just gaming anymore. So this kind of stream is maybe one of the first of its kind on Twitch, and maybe more people will start doing this, but that is what attracts the people. It's that you can come in here, get your name up on my feed, talk to me, and like that's it. I could be doing anything. I could sit here with no radios and just talk to people and they would be interested. But the fact that I'm doing radio stuff as all that's happening is just like my little added bonus. Like, yeah, here, check it out. This is what I do. I'm showcasing what I do. You come in, interact with me, and that's Twitch. W2BTK. All right, I'm ready for some derailment. Let's. What are we talking about? Anons?
That's what I was looking at. I didn't mean to. Wasn't trying to break anything up. Yeah, live streaming's been fun. I don't know, Billy. I haven't been doing it the past few week or so. You know, I don't like, number one, being like on camera, you know, and I don't know. It's just, sometimes I just don't feel like doing it, you know, and sometimes I'd rather, you know, record specific things and then edit them and then put them on my YouTube channel at a later date, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's been fun though. I definitely, there's been times where I've really enjoyed it.
True live streaming is kind of hard work, man.
I'm just not the, I don't know, I guess that interactive. Can anybody hear them?
That's Charles.
Oh, I couldn't hear him. Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, I can about hear you guys too. Signals look okay, but I got a noise level that's eating in on everybody. Anyway, I'll say hi and bye. I'm not gonna sit here listening to this noise. Catch you all later.
All right. Have a great evening.
Yeah, see you, Charlie. Take care. Good to hear you. This is W3MMR, Chester, Pennsylvania.
You should live stream, Clark.
Nope, that'll never happen.
Why not?
Well, because live streaming, I don't know. I'm kind of with Perry. I don't want to be on camera.
It's not that bad when you get used to it.
Nah, the only thing that I would do for live streaming is I'd hand in my license. How about that? I just hand in N1BCG to the FCC, eBay all my ham gear, and then just keep my DX160, and then start a YouTube channel, live stream YouTube channel, where I'd sit outside on nice summer evenings and have the radio there with the audio plumbed into the live stream, smoking a cigar, a Toto El Mundo or a Mario Palomino, drinking rum, and make comments on all the stuff that I hear on the air. Ha! That I would do.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I don't know. There's like certain things that I would change. You know, I don't know. I'm just gonna take a break from the live streaming for a while, and then you know, just do recordings and edit them and then put them on my YouTube channel. I enjoy doing that too, and I have all the editing software. I paid a lot of money for it, so might as well use it. In a buzz on 85.
Yeah, YouTube is cool. I mean, like, making content on YouTube is just as helpful in a lot of cases. You know, you can really... YouTube is completely different and a lot more discoverable than Twitch if you really think about it. Because, you know, you watch a video that interests you, and then they show you videos that are similar to that, and you can find people like that. Twitch really doesn't have anything like that. There's like no discoverability, so you really have to put yourself out there. Usually, like, you want to have a successful YouTube page first, and then when you have a lot of people watching and interested in what you do, you say, hey, I'm gonna be live streaming on so and so, like, come check it out. And like, all the people that are into your videos will come into your live stream. It's really hard to just start live streaming.
Yeah, you're right. Or unless you have like a really big Facebook following or something, you know. But that's a really, really good point, a good way to put it. Yeah, I have like 300 followers on I have 297 followers on YouTube. You know, each one of my videos gets about 30 views, and that's not a lot, I know, but each video gets about 30 views. You know, it's just obviously not a big market. It's real niche kind of market there. So, you know, I don't expect many views. So, but I think I could. I think there's ways to, you know, to improve upon things. But Billy, you're real interactive with it, and like with the live streaming and Twitch, and you know, you like the way you do it is perfect for Twitch. You know what I'm saying? And I think the way I do it is more geared towards, you know, YouTube. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody's gonna watch if it's just like a pan adapter going. You know, that's not what people come to Twitch for. They want to see a person. They want to, you know, chat and interact. It's what the site's for, really. And that's, I think, like the best way to reach people who aren't hams. You know, because they're not going to be searching YouTube for like ham radio videos. You know, but they might come across you on Twitch and they'll be like, oh, hey, look, here's like a guy doing something and this and that, and they'll like stick around long enough to maybe become interested in it. I don't know. But yeah, you have to be interactive on Twitch or else it just doesn't work. And my Twitch channel is not very big at all. I mean, I get like, you know, on a good night, I get like 10 viewers or whatever, but this Twitch stream is it's still a baby, you know? I've only been doing it a couple months, and most of the people who have like, you know, like 1,000 viewers at any given time, they've been streaming on Twitch for a couple years.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, like, some of these things are popular. There's thousands and thousands of people every time they live stream, you know, but
information on social media network.
But, you know, what can you do? So, you know, I'm taking a break from the live streaming. That's what I'm doing. So, is there any looting going on around your on the Montana mountain there, Billy?
Is everything what? I'm sorry.
I said, is there any looting going on Montana mountain?
No, it's like people with jobs that wave to each other as they go by, you know.
Sounds like a great neighborhood.
Not much of a neighborhood. I mean, like, I could walk out into my front yard and just pee facing the road and nobody would see me.
That's awesome. That's where I'll be at a place like that soon. Another year or so. We'll be helicoptering our PP right in our front yard.
I just threw up in my mouth a little.
Imagine that, Billy ending up in a QST article. Wouldn't that be something?
I tell you what, there'd be a couple of people that I know of that would be pretty ticked off.
The end justifies the means.
Apparently, myself and all the people who I hang with on the air are really bad people.
Well, then it's going to ruin your reputation if you end up encouraging young folks to get involved in ham radio, because somehow the old folks have no freaking clue as to how to do that.
And you know what? They I brought that to their attention, and I asked, what? I'm not looking for a long-standing list of accomplishments here of your ham radio career over the past 20 years. I want to know what you've done for the hobby in the past 2 months. And I let them know that some of the stuff that I did, and they basically said oh, you're just talking about yourself. You think you're so cool and blah, blah, blah. You aren't crap. You're a horrible operator, this and that. And, well, that's their opinion of me. And it's all out there for everybody to see. I mean, all my QSOs are uploaded and live streamed for the most part, so you can decide for yourself. I don't think they've ever watched one.
Yeah, but why do you care what other people think?
Oh, I don't. I'm drawing attention to it because I don't like them.
Well, there you go. I just whatever. I mean, it's too long a story. When something's too long a story, there's no sense in even starting.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a valid point.
I could show you some Facebook threads that would probably make you sick, Clark.
Not interested, because again, this comes back to what have you done for me lately? And I don't literally mean me. Maybe I should say, what have you done for others lately? And then that makes people have to say, well, and think about it. And that's when it gets difficult.
Well, they had no response for that except to, call me names and cuss me out. So, whatever. I don't care. I left their group and they continued to talk about me for another 3 days. That particular thread had hundreds of replies, and it was just basically them trashing me for what I'm doing here. So, they think this is a bad thing, Clark.
Yes, you do care because you keep bringing it up. So don't bring it up anymore and just let it go. Forget it. It doesn't matter.
Who was trashing it?
Bill N6Y, whatever, the moderator of the AM forum on QRZ, and his friend P-Lips Needle Dinger.
Okay. Well, I've never heard anybody talk bad about it. All I've heard was positive things about it, to be honest with you.
Well, trust me, they are.
Just like I know there's negative things said about me by other operators. But guess what? 2 big, fat middle fingers to them. Because I don't care.
You don't mean on the same hand, do you?
No. Well, I do have sausage length fingers, real stubby concrete hands. I have bricks, 2 bricks for hands.
No, I didn't know if you had 2 middle fingers on the same hand. Then it would be well, that's a whole topic right there.
Well, yeah, they kind of look the same. So yeah, I guess all my fingers. That's what my point was. I got what you were saying. So yeah, I guess you could say they would be both on the same hand. Yes.
I was looking forward to that conversation.
What?
Right? Nope, man, I don't care what people say about me. I've been blocked because I'm friends with you, Billy. People have blocked me for using a southern accent on here in a joking manner. And then they went to even as far as recording it and saying, I can't believe that you would do this. That's not becoming of a good amateur radio operator. Whatever.
Oh my God, could you imagine if they heard me?
Oh yeah, no, they've heard you.
Oh really? Well, I'd love to hear from them then if they've got issues.
You have. Yeah, you know who it is.
What? They have issues with my characters? Are you kidding? That's ridiculous.
No. Well, I haven't heard that directly, okay? But I've just been told about myself and others, the pre-net, thing, and the monotooth net thing, and the, me using CB lingo, man, throwing it out there using a CB, lingo like this. And so I disrespected a few folks by doing that. Sure. I got deleted and blocked, and yeah.
Oh, the monotooth net. Yes, that's right. So now I know what you're talking about. I agreed not to say that anymore. And by the way, I have not said it. Since he had expressed his upset with my referring to anyway, using the term monotooth net, I have not done it. No matter how ticked off he's gotten me, I still have not used that term on the air. So. All right. Gotcha. Well, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. N1BCG.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's always those guys who are firing up and QRMing and doing, like, stuff that sucks. So sometimes I talk like this. When I'm out here and I've been talking to you for 2 hours, and then all of a sudden there's all these carriers and people talking underneath, fire up the net, and they're like, oh, well, thanks for checking in, then, I make fun of them. And I feel justified. I mean, it's not right, but if you're going to act like that, then, how the hell are you going to get mad at me for acting the way I act? Just go do it somewhere else. You're interfering. So if I make fun of you, then so be it. It's like it wouldn't have happened if you weren't interfering with our QSO. So, I don't know. Like, what do you expect? What do you want?
Well, out of fairness, and you have to try to look at it from everyone's standpoint, especially if you're going to bash them. You need to be able to bash them from their standpoint, not from yours. But out of fairness, the band does change. But I know that's not an excuse. There's the difference between, okay, we're on early, the band changed, propagation changes, and all of a sudden everyone's hearing each other. That's a problem, but that's not anyone's problem. That's just what happens. But if you've got a bunch of stations that are bombing in and you decide, well, it's time for our net, and this is the frequency that the net's always on, so we're just going to go on the air, we're just going to pretend those other stations aren't there, that is a problem. And it's a person problem. It's not just a whatever problem like, when the band changes. So those are two different things. And also, I think that and this is why I cannot stand, I'm sorry, Perry, this is why I cannot stand the AM window concept, is because the AM window concept says, well, you basically have from 3870 to 3890 for all your AM activity, and that gets damn stifling. And I think actually all AMers, whether you like them or not, but if you just look at all AMers in general, they would all agree with that 20 kilohertz is just a little too tight for all the AM activity to be stuffed within, and it just doesn't work in the long run. So anyway, so there are times when people are being jerks, and then there are other times where it's just like, well, it evolved like this. So that's important to differentiate between the two. N1BCG.
Yeah, but Clark.
Yeah, I don't go for channels called the AM window, but I don't go for the AM window, concept, you know. I'm on a net on 38.35 every Sunday morning, the AM carrier net. It's down, like I said, 38.35, and when I get my extra, I can go down to 37.05. There's guys down there on 36.95. I mean, there's other spots in the band, but this is the most popular, and the AM window concept is very popular, and a lot of guys adhere to it. It's a gentleman's agreement, and I do too, and for the most part, but, you know, I don't know, some guys just don't like our content. They don't like it, you know. They don't like the break-in style, the back and forth, the sitting around, the BS, and sometimes the content does get out there, you know, and stuff that probably shouldn't be talked about on the radio. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? What are you going to do? We're a bunch of like-minded dudes, and yeah, there's a few young guys out here too. You know, I guess it's a new way of thinking. You know, but if you're gonna delete me and block me and like act like everything's fine the one day, and the next thing you know, I'm like, this person just dropped off the face of the earth. I haven't heard from them in a month, and that's why. You know. And apparently it was a big thing because I talked to a lot of those guys in the morning, and a lot of guys down south are like, you know, he was like, how could you, you know, talk to them in the morning and then make fun of them at night? I'm like, dude, it's because it's not a big deal. Like, I lived down south most of my life. Like, I you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just throwing an accent out there, man, messing around. Like, if you're really going to get butthurt about that, man, you got way too much time on your hands, and I'm glad you got such a good life that it's not like you're really worrying about that.
You know, I'm not ready to change the subject yet. So that AM window thing, right? It's not a gentleman's agreement. It's BS is what it is, and it's being perpetuated by people at like the tippy top, like of AM radio ambassador status. Like, think about it. Bob Heil, right? We all know Bob Heil. What did he come on the AM rally, Ham Nation podcast or whatever? He came out and said, yeah, like, get out there and operate AM, but make sure that you stay between 3870 and 3890 or you'll get in trouble. And that is verbatim. That's what he said. And he's perpetuating that crap. And it's unhealthy for AM. And like, he's got a big voice with this stuff, and that's a major problem, man. That is a big problem. There is no AM window. You can use the AM mode wherever you want, wherever you have phone privileges, and the AM window thing is gonna keep, you know, it's like if you operate outside of these frequencies, it's approached with like a stigma, like you're doing something wrong, which is not the case. But all that thought process is being perpetuated by guys like that, and it's just crap, you know. So I'm out here doing what I do, and I say, if you want to run AM, run AM. If you're using a phone mode, go in the phone portion of any band and do it. Like, you're free and welcome to do so, and people need to know that. And the only way it's going to change, you know, is if people shut up with this AM window crap. It is the worst possible thing. Anyway, all right, change the subject now. W2BTK.
That's why we ain't the AM window. We're AM maniacs.
Well, I mean, all right. So, again, to be fair about it, you do know how the whole AM window thing started. I mean, I get why it existed, but the problem is I think it's being perpetuated by some folks who don't realize the battle that they started to fight back in the day no longer exists. But you have heard the story of why they're pushing the AM window concept, right?
Yeah, and like, you know, there's still laws in some state where like motorized you have to like carry a flag in front of a motorized vehicle or something that was written in like 1920 or something. Like, I don't know. Like, those laws are still there, but they're dated and they're not useful. And, you know, if they were to be enforced, it would hurt people trying to use their automobiles. So like, let's use our AM stations in 2020 without all that crap and stigma, that serious like stigma that attaches itself to AM because of it.
All right. I'll tell you what, and I apologize if you've already heard this before, but I think it's very important to, because this is a big AM topic, this AM window thing, and I think it's very important for people to understand, why do people even say AM window? What is the AM window? What was their thinking, and where are we at today? All right, let's rewind the clock to the late 1950s. Can you believe this? Late 1950s. This is when things like the Viking and the Valiant and all that stuff were like, the top dog rigs and stuff. At that time, sideband is new and it's coming out, and it's like the latest, greatest thing for the phone modes, because, well, single sideband, there's no carrier, it's just one sideband instead of two compared to AM, so it's very efficient. Get a lot more talk power. The signal to noise ratio is higher, because now instead of receiving, both sidebands receiving just one, so it's got very, penetrative qualities for DXing and stuff like that. So sideband became like the bee's knees, to use an expression from back in that area. Well, what ended up happening is a lot of ham radio operators were like, wow, that's awesome, because now they realized that the expense of buying new equipment was going to drop, the efficiency was going to go skyrocketing, and it was just going to be you were going to be able to do ham radio communicating using the voice mode, which was either AM or sideband at that point, and this was a great thing. It was a big step up. Well, there was a group of AM enthusiasts who were like, wait a minute, look at this. All of a sudden the bands are being overrun by the sidebanders, and the sidebanders were saying, come on, you old bastards, give up that AM stuff. Get on the bandwagon. Come on, let's move forward. Progress. And there were a lot of ham radio operators that were putting their Valiants and their Johnson 500s and their Collins AM gear and all that out on the curbside for the garbage man to pick up. This is late 50s, and you could pick up an AM rig for nothing, absolutely nothing, because to a lot of ham radio operators, this is yesterday's technology, where if you're doing voice, you're doing sideband. AM is ridiculous, inefficient. And but the remaining AMers, like the Bob Hiles out there, for example, and folks at his seniority, we'll just say, they said, no, we're not giving up on AM. AM is not dead. Even there were people at the league, at the ARRL, who were like, oh, that's it. Let's try to sweep AM under the carpet. Let's make it a thing of the past. Let's basically deprecate it, to use a software term. Well, the holdouts decided that in order to survive, they were going to carve out, they were basically going to make a peace treaty with the sidebanders and say, look, we're not going away, but all we want to do is we want to concentrate our efforts. We're going to continue operating right here, meaning 3870 to 3890. And they said, so, you guys go ahead and have your party. You can go, sing your song about how AM is dead and everything, but we don't agree with that. And we're going to continue operating, but we're only going to operate here. You leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. And it worked out that way, and that's where the term gentleman's agreement came in, because again, we were talking about 1950s, or late 50s, early 60s, and they actually did do that. It was a gentleman's agreement. So the sidebanders were kind of like, all right, fine. Well, you guys, you'll have your little, it's like an Indian reservation. You have your little plot of land there on the different bands. You do your AM. We'll stay away from you, but by the way, you stay in there. Stay in your sandbox. Don't, we're going to keep you to the gentleman's agreement also. You keep your damn AM in that AM window, and we'll avoid it. And life was okay for the most part. Well, now you fast forward to the 21st century, and you've got companies like Flex and Anon coming out with AM rigs that sound like $1 million. You've got people like Billy and a whole bunch of and Perry who are taking these old 1950s AM transmitters and supersizing them into really damn good sounding rigs. And then you've got events like the AM Rally, and all of a sudden there's this blossoming and growth of AM activity. And it's not that AM was ever like not good, it's just now it's coming back. And you've got manufacturers even like ICOM with their 7300 and Kenwood in some cases who are starting to say, hey, you know, AM is not just going to be like a button we're going to include just for marketing reasons. There are actually people who like this, and we're going to start putting attention towards making this actually sound good, make it a viable mode on our transceivers that we're selling. So now all of a sudden you've got more and more people getting into AM, but there's this sandbox, this is just 75 meters, this 3870 to 3890 sandbox that no matter how much AM grows, we're going to continue to have to squeeze within 20 kilohertz? You've got to be kidding. And this is exactly why I'm saying this concept of the AM window needs to go away. It made a lot of sense for the late 1950s and early 60s, even into the early 70s. But today, 2020, it just doesn't make sense anymore. So there you go, folks. You've got the entire history of why the AM window, who was involved, and why it makes no sense today. N1BCG.
I'm sorry to monopolize, but I agree completely, Clark. And just to show you how unpopular our opinion is, I lost more than half my viewers talking about this. But it's important to talk about. Anyway, I know Toby's out there and I know Perry's out there. This is W2BTK.
Oh yeah, I'm in here. KD2AFV. I agree with you, Clark. I was gonna ask you that. You know, back in the 70s and the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, you know, was there this many AM operators on the air, whether it be in the Northeast or around the country, you know? I haven't been around long enough, so I really have no frame of reference, but I don't know, it kind of seems to me that it's not an unpopular mode of operation right now.
Absolutely, but the thing now is it's got a resurgence. Like there was a whole bunch of time where AM was just kind of like there, but it wasn't doing a whole lot, you know. But now, like I said, with Flex and Anon and all that, and every day you practically hear someone get in on the QSO and says, "Hey, I'm trying out AM for the first time," or "I'm on my 7300." And by the way, ICOM, who in the world would have expected those guys to pay any attention to AM or anything like that? And if you look at the past 3 years of the AM Rally results, do you realize the number one rig, the most common rig, which was reported to be used in the AM Rally, is the ICOM 7300? Holy crap! You know, I didn't expect that. So that's why I'm saying, folks, and to folks like Bob Heil, to Bob Heil, I say, listen, I get it. You know, you were a general back in the Army for AM. You defended it, which is great, because it sure as hell needed it. If it weren't for those guys back in the late 50s and 60s and even into the 70s, AM might actually have become obsolete, or just pulled off all of the new transmitter functions. But because they kept it alive, it's still around, and as a result of that, it's getting a resurgence. So you got to give these guys a lot of credit, but they're still fighting the battle as if it's the late 1950s, and that's what I have an issue with. It's like, guys, stop with the AM window. Let it grow, because if you don't do that, then what are we going to do? We're going to have 20 kilohertz on the 75 meter band, and then we're going to tell the sidebanders, oh, you got to stay out of the AM window. And you know what? When we run out of space and we have to go to other frequencies, what are they going to be able to say? Get the hell back into the AM window. That's not going to work. That's why the AM window needs to go away. All right, I'm sorry. Billy, I guess you said I chased away all your listeners. I didn't mean to do that, but I think it was very important to explain this whole AM window thing because it keeps coming up over and over and over again, and we need to know the what, when, where, and how we got to where we are today. N1BCG.
Well, I don't think it was you that chased him off, and I wasn't trying to say that, but it was just the conversation. I mean, I believe that it's a very unpopular opinion with most people, but the other thing I wanted to say is that, yeah, okay, ICOM 7300, but ICOM does not give a crap about AM. They locked that thing down. 300 to 3,000 audio frequency bandwidth is like, I mean, they're laughing at us. It's like, yeah, here you go, but like, be careful, cause like, if you run AM, like, you better not be like wide and sound good. You know, AM and ham radio are you know, communications grade modes. Like, you're not supposed to sound like a broadcast station, and we're gonna make sure that you can't if you buy our products. Now, Flex and Anon, on the other hand, they've done something pretty cool. You can open up the bandwidth, and you know, if you're like an operator with skills and you know what you're doing, you can run more bandwidth and sound really good. And like, ICOM does not trust anyone to do that, so they've locked their firmware down to where you can't really sound that good on one of them. I mean, you could sound okay, but you're not going to sound like Clark. If you buy a 7300, you never will, you know, and they're not interested in opening that thing up and letting people do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think like maybe they're like, oh, like people are using AM, well, let's throw it in the radio, maybe we'll sell more of them, you know. But they do not give a crap about AM, and that's seriously my opinion. W2BTK.
Yes, they do, and I can explain.
Please do.
All right. There's two things that go through the mind of the designers, or actually I should say the marketing department at ICOM and Yaesu and Kenwood. What they want and what they're hoping for is that people are going to buy their stuff, they're going to get on the air, and they're going to write stuff in EHAM and QRZ and AM phone and all that, and say, wow, I just got this rig, and I made all these contacts, and I got a lousy antenna, and the station off in some other country, you know, fill in the blank, said I was coming in great. And then that's going to sell more rigs, and those, the big three, and Elecraft 2, I should mention 4, are going to want to get as many of those contacts as possible. None of those companies are expecting someone's going to say, hey, I sounded just like Clark. See what I'm saying? It's like, no, it's like the whole thing about high fidelity is not going to get them good reviews, because ham radio is there's like us who want the high fidelity, but everybody else wants to make DX contacts with probably not real good antennas, because not everyone can put up a really good antenna. So you know, like run what you brung, and so they are focusing on 3 kilohertz of audio fidelity, because they need to, because that's where you get your signal to noise ratio. But the fact that the 7300 does have a better than a lot of the other rigs, comparable rigs, AM audio section, does get them some notice. And there are people who are going to think, well, I want to buy a new rig. Maybe I'm not up for a Flex or an Anon, but an ICOM sounds pretty good. They may choose that ICOM 7300. So I do think that there is some purpose behind that. But anyway, all right. N1BCG.
Well, Clark, you can also get the other situation like I did. I bought the Anon, or no, I mean, I bought the Anon after I bought the 7300. I bought that thing, not really, you know, I never really expected to go on AM. And, this was, I think, a little over a year ago. I was talking to Billy, and, you know, he mentioned all you guys down here, you know, on 75 meter running AM. And the first time I got on was with the 7300, and I hear you guys out there. It's just like, well, I want something that sounds just a little bit better, so I went out and I got the Anon. That 7300 kind of got my foot in the door, and now I use that rig for a lot of the upper band stuff, like on mostly it's dedicated to FT8, but really if it wasn't for a pretty good rig that had decent AM and USB connectivity and all that stuff, and at a reasonable price, there's a good chance I wouldn't even be down here right now. So I'll give ICOM credit for that. But like Billy said, they got that firmware. It is so locked down, you cannot do anything to open up the bandwidth on it. And that would be fantastic if somebody out there was, got like a hacked firmware or something to let you get in there and open the thing up and actually get some decent, audio bandwidth out of it. But I give the ICOM a little bit of credit for at least sounding, passable, for AM. Like, it's good. You can make contacts with it, and it doesn't sound like garbage. So they do have at least that going for them. KD2AFV.
That's
W3MMR.
It's a good point, Toby. Get your foot in the door with the 7300, but you said it yourself. Like, if you want to get out and really use AM, that thing's going to collect dust on the shelf. It was not made for that. And like Clark said, they're not like that interested in that. They just threw it in there because, like whatever, okay, like people want AM. Well, here you go, like communications quality, blah, 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 like that, like that's it. We'll put it in the radio. But, we don't really... They're not paying attention to what people want. So Toby went out and bought an Anon, and that's his daily driver AM rig. And, as far as like operating AM, the 7300 sits on the shelf collecting dust. But, it got his foot in the door, so that's cool. Like ICOM made $900 or whatever, and he went out and bought a different rig so he could do AM.
Hi, Perry. Didn't want to think I forgot about you. Yeah, and I mean, it's not like it totally collects dust. I sit there with the, when I'm here, on 75 meter half the time, I got that thing on, doing FT8 on 12 and 10 meter and stuff, any of the higher bands. I'll fire up with the 7300 and I sit there with, the FT8 software going while I'm talking here.
Which you could do with your Anon too, and if you knew any better, you probably would have skipped the 7300 and just got an Anon.
That is true. I probably would have.
So ICOM, they made their money, and it's because they decided to throw AM in there, and that's my point. They don't give a crap about AM. They want to sell radios. Dave's saying use the 7300 for a receiver exciter after you graduate to the second level. But if you use it as an exciter, well, yeah, no, that'll work. That'll work perfect. You can use an ICOM 7300 as a fine business exciter for your plate modulated rig. That's badass. See, I would buy one to do that. But, that's not their market. Like that. How many sales are they going to get of people who are tired of using their tube VFO and want to, just use an ICOM 7300 as a VFO? Honestly, are they banking on that?
I would not recommend using an ICOM for a VFO, and the reason being is that when you first key them up, there is a pulse of very high power, and it drops down. So, for example, when you if you need, let's say, 20 watts for being your driver for whatever rig it's being used for, when you first key up, it goes to full power and then comes back down and settles on what you had it set for. So it's a glitch, I think. and it's why they don't make very good drivers for other rigs. N1BCG.
And they'll probably never fix it. So there you go. And reinforcing my point, W2BTK.
You know what's interesting about that? I just realized, because that's a very common problem when you have it set for various modes, and I'm wondering why people don't use CW. Because in CW it can't do that, because that would end up resulting in a very deformed waveform. Hey, if you're using an ICOM, Yaesu, or Kenwood to drive another rig, try CW. Try setting it to the CW mode. Number one, it automatically cuts off the microphone, which is very important. And number two, it won't surge in power when you key up to use it as a driver. God, I'm a genius.
Well, there you go. So back to what Dave said. Use the 7300 for receiver exciter after you graduate to something else. Am I humming and buzzing?
I've never thought of you as a hummer.
I see a lot of I have like I'm looking at my IF, one of these IF stages, and I see a lot of like fuzz on my signal. Wow, that's pretty bad. This is just the exciter 2. Well, there you go. W2BTK, I already said that. Man, what is that? Hold on.
It's your brain sizzling, Billy.
That's quite a message.
Oh, I don't know. I was looking at him on the live feed. He's in shorts. I don't think he's sizzling right now.
You're looking at Billy in shorts?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's wearing shorts on his Twitch stream.
He noticed the shorts.
I didn't realize he was the ham burlesque.
It's actually swim trunks, believe it or not. They're really comfortable. Man, that's a lot of fuzz and crap on my signal. What is that? See, this is that crap that I see that I've been blaming on the amplifier, and it's the Viking. Yay, yay. Huh.
You know, Billy, I think that is the marketing angle you've been looking for. You know, New York City, the New York City subway system has this attraction called the Naked Cowboy, and it's a guy who wears tidy whities and a cowboy hat and nothing else, and plays a guitar in the New York City subway system. You could be the Naked Ham. And then, well, you know, you could figure out a bit out of that. So yeah, there you go. You could be the Naked Ham on your Twitch feed.
No.
No, you're writing it off too much. I gotta talk to this chick. I'll be right back. N1BCG.
Oh, jeez. All right. See you later, Clark. Chicks don't dig ham radio, man. There's never been a chick in my live stream. They don't even do ladies' night anymore.
I think ladies' night is what, next week?
Oh, I don't know. I don't get memos on that. I mean, like, what? Why would I? it's for women, you know, like, so basically when that's going on, it's like I don't turn my radio on, because when I turn my radio on, I want to talk.
Yeah, I know. I know you spin the dial.
Yeah, I got this. I'm just running the Viking right now, and it's buzzing, man. Holy crap.
Yeah, I just heard it.
It's really bad right now. That's god awful. Maybe it's this modulator. Hold on. No, I just turned my modulator completely off, and didn't change at all.
And I don't hear it right now.
Oh, it's there. Let me go. I'm gonna kill the filaments on the exciter and unplug and replug my VFO and see if that does something. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Hold on. I do hear it's very, very low, Billy, and it's a different hum. It's not the same hum. There's another hum. I'll be right back. W3MMR.
Oh yeah, that's bad. Oh well, I'll just keep using my crap from the 50s, I guess.
Well, it's working, Billy. I can actually, on on my pan adapter, I can see it more than I can hear it. I can barely hear it, but I can see it in there.
It's bad, right?
I mean, it looks bad, but it doesn't sound bad. I think it's real low. I think that might be what it is.
Well, it's originating in the exciter. I was blaming on the amp, but I don't know. I need to add like a switch in the other room so I can key up the transmitter and do stuff. Look, I see ripple on my carrier. Pretty bad ripple, man. I don't know. There's something up with this Viking 2. I'm gonna have to go through it. Damn, that's bad. Look, I see it ripping down the waterfall too. That's bad. I'm not working tomorrow, so maybe I'll dive into this Viking 2 a little and see if I can find out why it is. God, that's awful.
Oh, you don't got work tomorrow? You're lucky.
I wouldn't say that's lucky.
I mean, if you were working on the job site I was, you might consider it lucky. It's a real pain in the butt where I'm at. It's nothing like doing your work, having the state inspector come through, sign off on everything, say it looks perfect. Then Princeton University comes through and said, no, we don't like it, change it.
Hey man, spec is spec. You can do everything in the world up to code, but if it doesn't meet the blueprint spec, then you're gonna change it. But I've been watching your Fox videos, man. The one from today, God, they were rowdy. That guy came right up to you. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was nuts, wasn't it? I was out there filming the things, and that video is actually like 10 minutes long. I just cut it down to the good parts. That one that got that thing was probably within 4, maybe 3 feet away from me. I feel like if I had food in my hand, I could have pet the darn thing. That, it came running up. And it came running up with a dead squirrel, and it dropped it off for the couple little kits right there. And I think that video starts with one of the little ones running by, then they go in the bushes and you just hear them getting all rowdy in there fighting over it. But yeah, it's something else. It's not only just the foxes. There's baby deer around there too, and those things will get right up on you. It's amazing what happens with animals when they're never hunted by anybody. KD2AFV.
That's kind of what it seemed like. That dude, he was coming up to you like, hey, he was interested. If you had food, I bet he would have ate it, I wouldn't have given it to him out of your hand, but I bet he would have hung out with you for a little while.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't feed that thing out of my hand. It looks friendly, but, it's still a wild animal. And you really don't hand feed wild animals like that. But they're definitely, some of the houses around this place, they're definitely getting fed. Or they're stealing dog food. Because the one day, one of them came running through with a little food bowl. Like, it either stole it from a dog or there's people leaving out bowls of food for him because it came running through. And it was, those, I don't know if you ever seen them, they're the slow feeder, food bowls. They're a lot of ribs in there and you pack the food down in it. The thing came running over with that and it laid down out in the middle of the field and it was spending, almost half a day getting every last scrap of food out of it.
Yeah, they're cute. I got a fox around here somewhere. They scream at night. That's the only annoying thing. I snuck right up on him too. He was out there in the corner of the yard screaming, and it took me about 10 minutes to go across my yard slow enough to sneak up on him. I wanted to impress my cat is what I was doing, and I got right up to him almost, and I just yelled hey! And I'm sorry, boo-boo. I just woke my cat up. But yeah, I startled him. He hasn't been back, but he was, he was screaming at night, so whatever.
Oh, man. The way a fox will scream in the middle of the night, if you're not expecting that, it scares the crap out of you.
What's going on with you? Sorry, I was in the other room.
I used to hear him screaming, Perry, just listen for a minute. You get back in the queue, so. It used to happen in Berkeley Heights when I was living there, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like a child being beaten or something.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like that. If you don't know what it is, yeah, it sounds like someone beating the crap out of a kid.
You know what? I'm going to try W9WOO's suggestion, and I'm going to plug my exciter into a different circuit. Right now I have it running through a Furman power conditioner, and I'm going to take it off of that and plug it directly into the wall on a different circuit. The only thing is I'm sharing a neutral between the circuit that it's on and the circuit that I'm going to move it to. So I don't know. It's worth a try, and I can do it pretty quickly. So give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Perry, we were talking about foxes.
Yeah, I thought that's what you said. Or what was said. I thought I caught that.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it on my Facebook, but this morning I got a video of a fox that like came within like 3-4 feet of me and just kind of hung out there.
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff down at this job site in Princeton. You know, nobody's hunting anything in Princeton, and nobody's chasing any of these foxes away, so they've become like completely habituated to humans. They have like no fear. Like they just don't care. You know, you could run, the thing could walk past you 10 feet away and you yell at it and it won't even turn its head at you. It just does not care that a person's sitting there.
Dude, that is nuts. What are they just carrying what they killed? What was it like? It looked like a little cat. And here comes like the mama coming up right up next to you. Like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, what's up? What's going on? Yeah, you like that? Just out here watching my kids, you know. What are you doing, working? Oh, yeah, okay.
Nah, look at that. See, it's just as bad.
Squirrel. Oh, okay. And, yeah, I don't have it blown up. Yeah. You could have probably went up to it and pet it.
Well, we inside that's right outside the basement of this building I'm working on, doing the boilers and everything on. And inside that basement, we now have like a couple boxes of those milk bones. Because we're gonna like slowly see if we can get to the point where we can get those foxes close enough that we can just kind of almost sit down and have lunch with them.
Man. This is too cool, man. This is pretty neat. They're just like chilling, like this is my yard. Yep, how you guys doing? Just us.
Well, the one thing that lets you know that they really do have like no fear is I don't know if it's in that video. I may have cut it off before it happened, but the one it walked like 5 feet away from me, laid down and went to sleep, and after like 5 minutes the thing was out there snoring in the grass with me standing 10 feet away. So it just does not care about people at all whatsoever. Like, you can see in that video, I swear the thing came up thinking like, hey man, you got any food for me? I'm a little hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like when he was walking up, he's like, yo, what's up, man? You got anything for me? Yeah, that's too cool. Yeah, you're coming in good, Toby. Real good. And Billy, I don't hear the hum right now.
No, it's there. It didn't help anything when I switched to the other circuit, so, but Amazon just got here with my new washing machine drain pump, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, I hear it now. But it's different. Like, the other one will just, like, come and just blast in, and it looks different on the pan adapter.
Yeah, who knows what the hell's going on. It's really bad today. It's usually not that bad.
Are you running just the Viking?
Yes, sir.
Or maybe that's why there's one in each.
Who knows, man? I'm just excited I can fix my washing machine tonight and, you know, wash my clothes. That's the second time this stupid thing has crapped out on me, man. Whatever.
Well, that sucks. That's the second time it's crapped out on you. I was going to say, I kind of like fixing home appliances. My, refrigerator went down last year. Replaced the defrost cycle heater thing in there. That's a common problem. Fixed it. Got a couple refrigerators up here in the barn. They were junk. Left out on the side of the road. Said it didn't work. Only the freezer worked. There was nothing. None of the parts in the fridge went bad. So I pull it apart and the fan don't work. It's a $13 fan, and for $13 you got a good working refrigerator all of a sudden. I wouldn't want to fix something more than once though. That sucks. KD2AFV.
Maybe I got a crappy tube in this Viking or something.
How many tubes have you replaced in that thing? Or do you know the condition of them?
All I've replaced is what is it, a I forget exactly which tube. It's the buffer amp tube and the two finals. That's it. And I swapped finals a couple days ago, so it didn't do anything, but I don't know. It's just especially bad today.
Yeah, it's really not that bad, dude. And when you're like 40 over, it's barely even noticeable. I wouldn't even notice it if you didn't say anything, so it's not. I wouldn't worry about it.
It's just bothering me. That's all. I've got the skills to fix this, so I'm gonna fix it. So the fact that it's not fixed, I'm just gonna be discontent.
Well, you must have got those skills from watching the BBI videos. He knows everything. He was taught by the great.
Dude,
I be this. No, trust me. Why? But I'm just letting you know it's not that bad.
Yeah, okay, you said that. BBI, so yeah, the guy has some skills. The skills that he has are like, he does clean work, man. He does good, clean work. Like if I didn't feel like doing something and I wanted to send it off somewhere and just have it done by a guy who pays incredible attention to details, very meticulous, and does clean work, I would totally send my stuff to him. But as far as like cutting edge technician, technology, blah blah blah, all this crap, he doesn't. He no, just no. Like he's probably the best solder jockey out there, but that's where it ends. And I just don't like the inflated ego of like, let's leave it at that. He has skills. It's just not the type that I'm talking about. And W9 WO, I'm not running any audio tubes. I have it's all solid state in the audio department and modulator department. The 807s have been removed completely from the Viking. See, Clark is gone, man. I knew he wasn't coming back. This pump feels heavier than the last one I installed. Maybe it's better. Well, what's up, chat? Nobody's on the radio. I might as well talk to you guys. Who all do we have in here? I know W9WOO is watching. I know Dave's watching. Who else we got in here? Come on out of the woodwork and talk to me. There's the Boston Buzzy.
Yeah, right. I gotta run on out of here. The wife wants to, we got 2 puppies that they came from Reno to New York. We're holding them for 3-4 days, and then they're going to somebody in Canada, so we're just holding them for now, like we're doing a transport thing. And she wants to take them outside and play around with them a little bit. And I'm not going to turn down a chance to go play with a couple puppies, so I'm going to hop on out of here, guys. I'll catch you next time. KD2AFV.
All right, Toby. Nice to catch you out here. Maybe I'll hop on your Minecraft server later. If you're going to be hanging out, I'll have RTX on as to drop my frame rate to like 45 frames. It'll be great. Although I don't think I can even do that on your server. You can only do that on certain maps. But anyway, see you later. 7-3, all that hi, ham bone, fine business, OM 7-3, W2BTK.
Sounds good, Billy. Yeah, the server's always on. Like, and as far as I know, the IP address hasn't changed yet. I logged into it when I was at work today just to check on it, so it should all be good. If you do want to hop on, I might be on a little later. My wife's been going nuts with it. She's mining up everything. She's got like 5 stacks of diamonds, almost a whole chest full of emeralds, all kinds of crazy stuff. I guess this working from home thing, she needs something to do, so she's got that. All right, yeah, like you said, fine business. Hi, yeah, all that. See ya, 7-3.
Maybe it'd be worth it to get my Kenwood 440 hooked up just to AB to really make sure that it's this Viking and not something else. And the only problem is I don't have enough coax to do that. Well, that's not true. I don't have enough human-sized coax to do that with. The only coax I have is like monster crap that's really... It would be a shame to use it for that. Let's put it that way. Well, look at that. Nobody is around. Oh, there's a carrier on 85. Not too strong, though. I don't know. Nobody really on the radio. All that's left to do, I guess, just chatting. Dead air, man. Can't do much with that. Oh well. I guess I'm gonna go install my new drain pump in my washing machine and wash my clothes, because I need to do that. I was doing a big load of like work clothes and all that crap, and the pump crapped out on me. I think I put too much soap in there and it was trying to clear it out. It ran for more than 10 minutes. This thing's only got the duty cycle says 10 minutes off, 10 minutes on, 50 minutes off. So if you run it for close to 10 minutes, it's screaming hot. And I think it tried that a couple times and just puked the drain pump. So there's no real activity out here. I might go do that. I don't have work tomorrow, so there's a good chance I get on the radio in a little while when some of the banter starts up again, and get back out here and stream some radio for you guys. But really not much going on. My cat ran away when I went out to get the package. So I am truly all alone. Unless anybody wants to chat, any like people watching, questions, comments, this or that, we could do that. Otherwise, I'm gonna shut this thing off for a little while and come back when there's some activity. I don't really see much going on. Maybe I'll restream somebody. See who's on. There's nobody really on right now anyway. So all right, screw it, guys. I'm gonna shut down the stream and come back later when there's some activity going on and fix my washing machine in the meantime, because like I'm pretty excited about that. And tomorrow I'm gonna dig into this Viking 2, try to fix that up. And ring neighborhood alert. Bear sighting. Big bear just came strolling through a yard. Be careful. All right, I will. So yeah, I'm not gonna say we'll fix the Viking tomorrow, but I'm gonna look into why it might be humming and buzzing. If you guys see at like the bottom of the screen, or where is it, down there? It's so hard to do this on camera. Down here, look. See that like fuzzy, like all those lines and stuff? That's like a buzz or a hum. And I'm sure you can hear it on the stream. So I'm gonna try to fix that tomorrow. Again, I'm running a transmitter from the 1950s right now. The VFO was designed in the 40s. So expect problems, that's all. But that's why I run it. It's interesting. It gives me stuff to tinker with. I learn a lot from running all this old crap, Not an ICOM 7300, but anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. If there's some good activity out here, I'm going to fire up the stream again in an hour or two, which is likely. So we'll see you then if I don't see you. Peace.